welcome to this how-to video. We are starting at the basics today with the basics of all stitches in crochet, which is the chain stitch. Now before you do a chain stitch you need to get your yarn onto your hook, and to achieve that we're going to make a slip stitch. And to make a slip stitch you simply cross the yarn over, take the working end of your yarn through the loop and pull it through. It's called a slip stitch because if at any point you want to just pull the ends apart and undo it, you can. So I'll show you that again. Wrap it round, pick up that working end of the yarn through the loop and pull it through. And then simply pop your hook in, pull it tight, not too tight. You want a little bit of breathing space there, otherwise your chains will be too tight. Now, top tip, if you are making a blanket, for example, a blanket that's in rows and it calls for a 4mm hook, such as this one, you would want to start with a hook size bigger if you are a relatively tight crocheter like me. You might not need to do it, but I always do. So to be fair, if I'm making a blanket that uses a 4mm hook, I know that if I don't use a 5mm hook for my chain, then it's going to buckle because my chain is always quite a bit tighter than my stitches. So for me, blanket with a 4mm hook, I'm going to use a 5mm for this chain. But for today in this video, I'm just going to use my trusty 4mm. I do have a favourite hook, it's the 4mm. So I've got my yarn onto my hook and I'm going to do a yarn over and pull through. And that is a chain stitch. So with my finger on here for some stop it spinning around the hook, I'm going to yarn over, create a bit of tension here by taking hold of the end of the yarn there, and I'm going to use my hook to pull through the loop that was on my hook. I'm going to show you a few. So we have yarn over, pull through, second chain, yarn over, take hold here, use your hook to pull it through. Now you might notice there's a couple of key things here that make this work. Firstly, I've got my finger on here at the start of the stitch. If I don't have that there, when I go to make my yarn over, it's quite difficult, but all you do potentially is cause it to spin round and you don't actually end up with your yarn being a yarn over. So firstly, finger on there, okay? The next thing you want to do, as you do after you've done your yarn over, is you need to take hold of this. If you now try and pull this through here, you can't do it. You have to have some tension here to be able to then pull the yarn through the loop that's on your hook. And thirdly, you'll notice that when I bring my hook, I'm very much using the hook to bring this through here. I'm not doing any of this and pulling it over. It's a really common thing that beginners do because they get to this point and go, I can't. So they end up doing this and pulling this over here. It'll achieve the same effect, but you're never going to be able to learn to crochet quickly because that, if you had to pull all loops over the hook, it would take you a very long time to make anything. So from the outset, try not to get into that habit. And you're going to use your hook to slide this through. This is why it's important that you've got a bit of a gap here, and if you realise that this is too tight, you can simply pull on here, move your, and that will open up that gap here. Okay, so when I use the hook to pull that yarn over through this loop, I am very much twisting so that if you look at the hook part is facing towards me. As I bring it down towards here, I'm turning it so it's this way to bring that through there, and then I almost scoop that up and round. I'll do that again. So the point of the hook is facing towards me. As I bring it down this way, it turns downwards, and then I kind of scoop it up and pull it through. And that is the way that you create chain stitches. And when you get speedy, you won't actually have to let go of any of that. So at the moment, when you start learning, it'll be finger on here, yarn over, take hold of this, pull through. Finger on here, yarn over, take hold of this, pull through. You will get to a point where you'll just be able to scoop up the yarn and just keep going. And that is your chain stitch. Thank you for watching. Bum, 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 bum.